Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents There'll Be Peace When You Are Done. Actors and fans celebrate the legacy of Supernatural. Edited by Lynn S. Zubernis. Narrated by Rebecca Mitchell and Matt Godfrey. Introduction. SPN Family Forever. Lynn S. Zubernis. There are certain experiences that happen in our lives that we will never forget. Psychology even has a term for the memory created by this kind of experience: a flashbulb memory. When something happens that shakes our world especially profoundly, the brain encodes that moment differently and more vividly than it does our everyday memories. Back in the day, a flashbulb was a cube that sat on top of your camera and went off to illuminate a scene you were capturing with a photo, freezing it in time forever. It's now just a light on your smartphone. Our brain, when it records a flashbulb memory, does something similar. It freezes the important, often upsetting moment in time forever. The sights, the sounds, the smells, and the emotions of that moment are all preserved deeply. The memory doesn't fade like other memories or lose its emotional intensity. Instead, it remains as clear and vivid as if it happened yesterday. We remember the clothes we were wearing, or exactly what we were doing or thinking, or who we were talking to. We remember our initial shock, and then the moment when our emotions kicked in. Most often, flashbulb memories are about world-changing events like September 11th or shocking personal news. But they can also be things you wouldn't expect. Sometimes something is so important to you that the news of its impending loss hits hard enough to freeze the moment in time. I think that's what happened to me on Friday afternoon, March 22nd, 2019. The moment I found out that Supernatural would end after its 15th season. That might seem like an odd thing to be preserved forever as a flashbulb memory, and it's certainly not equivalent to world-changing events. But that's not how our brains work. When something is important, it's important. And for many people, myself included, this little television show that lasted for 15 seasons is personally and emotionally important. After the news of the show's cancellation, many fans were confronted with family, friends, and co-workers who didn't quite understand that importance, who said something like, "It's a television show, for God's sakes. Get a grip." Probably those loved ones meant well, but when you're grieving, that lack of understanding is like salt in the wound. There's a psychological term for that too, in fact: disenfranchised grief. It can be hard to find room to express our feelings when others don't recognize the loss as valid. How do you explain that, for most of us, Supernatural is a lot more than a television show? How do you describe the ways in which Supernatural has changed all of our lives and gotten us through some of our toughest times? It's difficult for anyone outside the SPN family to understand what we've gained from this show and how hard that is to lose. The actors and fans who wrote chapters in this book share their own emotional stories of what Supernatural has given to each of them. They take us along on their personal journey with Supernatural, writing about how it changed their lives and what they'll take with them as the show comes to an end. The importance of the show differs for everyone. For some fans, the connection they feel to one or more of Supernatural's vividly written and acted fictional characters has been pivotal. We all figure out who we are by trying on aspects of others' identities, a process psychologists know as attribute substitution. Maybe you admire your great-aunt Sally's gregarious way of interacting with literally everyone she encounters on the street, but find that quickly exhausts you, and decide to model your socialization routine after Great-Uncle Joe's introversion. Maybe you aspire to be a leader like Dean Winchester, or to always keep fighting like Sam Winchester, and that keeps you going when things are tough. Maybe you see some aspect of yourself in Castiel and decide that if he can keep on trying, you can too. Maybe it's Charlie, or Jody, or Donna, or Billy. Maybe it's Bobby, or Kevin, or Ketch. The point is, we don't know who we want to be until we see who others are. We don't even know what it's possible for us to be until we see it in someone else. This idea, which is part and parcel of human development, is the reason why so many people talk about the need for representation in media. Books and films and television shows are where we find the exemplars of how to be human. As a species, we evolved to write our own life stories by absorbing the narratives of our culture and then making them our own. When we connect strongly with a particular story and that story's characters, it impacts the course of our own development. When Supernatural premiered 15 years ago, the media landscape was different. There were fewer female characters for fans to emulate, and fewer characters of any gender who were not straight and cis and white and young and able. Fans turned to fan fiction, creating stories where women also saved the day, and characters weren't all straight, and men did talk about their feelings, and all sorts of stereotypes about race and gender and disability were turned on their heads. Fans longed to see the diversity that existed in their own communities and penned it themselves as they waited for media to catch up. Over the years, Supernatural, along with television as a whole, evolved. Female characters who weren't just on screen to be love interests or eye candy, who had backstories and personalities and emotional arcs and relationships began to appear and talk to each other about something other than men. There were women who were both strong and vulnerable, successful and not, emotional and rational. The male characters on the show evolved too, with more characters breaking the straight white male stereotype. Even the Winchesters' mantra of no chick flick moments evolved as the brothers learned to be vulnerable and talk to each other. Both male and female characters on the show were gay and lesbian and bisexual and persons of color and deaf and blind and using a wheelchair and older than their 20s and all sorts of other things that we humans are. The show itself began to reflect its own fandom a little more accurately. And in the diversity of those characters, many fans found that elusive thing called representation in their favorite show. But it's not just identifying with favorite characters and witnessing their journeys over the years that has had an impact on fans. The relationships we've made as a result of the show and the fandom have changed our lives in countless ways. The value of making the world better is an integral part of our community, and the charity work fans have taken on together, and with members of Supernatural's cast, has also been life-affirming for many people. People have found friends, confidants, travel partners, even soulmates. The ways in which Supernatural and the SPN family have changed all of our lives are the reason saying goodbye is so hard. But sharing our memories and hanging on to all the good we've taken from this show eases the loss a little. That's why we all wrote this book. In each chapter, people share their perspectives on what made this little show on the CW so special. Cast members who played memorable characters on the show write about how their character or the fandom's response to that character impacted their lives and their own development. The characters they played are diverse in many ways. They are straight and queer, women and men of color from different backgrounds, hearing and deaf. The actors are equally diverse, and they write with emotion about their own struggles with representation and identity and self-acceptance within the intense atmosphere of a business that makes those struggles even more difficult. Like the cast, the fans whose stories appear here are also diverse, and they write with great candor about how the characters on the show have inspired and changed them, and how the community of fans has done the same. Listening to their stories, it's clear why Supernatural ending is something significant and memorable. As we all come to terms with the show's ending, fortunately, there's a lot of support within the fandom community in all its various forms. In fact, that's one of the reasons that Supernatural is so important in the first place, the supportive community that was inspired by the show. Yes, fans are incredibly sad to be losing Sam and Dean and Castiel, the fictional characters who mean so much to us. But the show is more than that. Supernatural created a family over these past 15 years. It's where many fans found their best friends, their support systems, the people who finally got them. It's where they felt like they belonged, maybe for the first time. The SPN family is the community that allowed them to get sober, change careers, leave a cult, keep living. Perhaps unlike shows that run for a year or two, Supernatural, after 15 years, has changed not only its fans. Supernatural and the SPN family have also changed the lives of its cast and crew and writers in equally powerful ways. They, too, have channeled the support of the SPN family to take risks, be vulnerable, and reach out and connect with fans in life-changing ways. The reciprocal relationship that has developed over 15 years between the Supernatural actors and fans is unique and powerful. After interacting with fans both face-to-face and online for all these years, the actors have forged connections that allow them an unprecedented level of understanding and a degree of genuineness that is rare in the media industry. It's not just the fandom who considers us all SPN family. The respect and understanding that the actors have for the fandom was obvious on that day in March when the news of the show's cancellation broke. It says something about Jared, Jensen, and Misha that they insisted on telling their longtime crew first. Many had been with the show since the beginning and were truly family at that point. Then they recorded a video message for the fans so we could find out directly from them that the 15th season would be the last. Although all three were clearly struggling with their own emotions, they wanted their fans to hear it from them. It's the same reason they wrote chapters for this book and for Family Don't End with Blood in their own words, because this is too important to telegraph through someone else. It's a testament to Supernatural's impact that the news of its ending brought such an outpouring of love and gratitude on every social media platform and on every mainstream media outlet. Actors who guested even once or twice on the show sent messages of respect and support. The British Columbia film industry itself weighed in, with gratitude for what the show has done for that industry and for Vancouver, including huge financial benefits and providing a talented and hard-working crew with jobs they could not only count on for 15 years, but also love. Journalists from many of the publications that cover fan-favorite shows shared their own stories of how Supernatural impacted them, from inspiring them to enter the field to the joy of being able to write about something they're passionate about. Fans reached out to other fans, offering a safe place to talk, a shoulder to cry on, whatever support might help. Then, as fans embarked on the inevitable process of grieving, they began to look back with gratitude on what Supernatural has given each of us and to celebrate the legacy of this remarkable show. The hashtag #SPNGaveMe sprang up on Twitter, and fans started sharing all those life-changing things that Supernatural brought to their lives. I saw many posts from fans of other shows who had never even seen an episode of Supernatural, but who, as fellow fans, understood the depth of this loss and reached out with sympathy. As always, fandom took care of each other. I did my own looking back and my own assessment of what SPN gave me and why this show is so special to me. I've published 6 books about the show that trace my own journey with Supernatural and how the show and the characters have inspired and changed me. But I don't think I'll ever have enough words to truly describe the profound impact that this little television series has had on my life. I found my voice and myself through this show and this fandom. I changed jobs, started writing, learned to speak up. I've realized that I can be criticized and not fall apart, and that criticism can be helpful once I'm able to listen. I've gone from being the painfully shy girl who failed geography class because I never spoke to doing panels at San Diego Comic-Con and actually enjoying it. I had never traveled by myself until Supernatural, and now I have navigated airports and train stations and bus stations all over the world, because seeing my SPN family was totally worth the anxiety attacks. The show's mantra of always keep fighting has been my mantra too, and it's kept me moving forward just like Sam and Dean and Cass. I am, quite literally, a different person than I was in 2005 when this little show began. When I first heard the show was ending, I was volunteering at the Project Fan Care table at Lexington Comic-Con, surrounded by copies of Family Don't End with Blood and fellow fans. Project Fan Care is a nonprofit that gives fans a forum to talk openly about how television and film and books and all sorts of fandoms have helped them get through tough times, and why that's a good thing. I had just finished talking to a woman who stopped by to tell me what Family Don't End with Blood and Supernatural have meant to her. As the woman walked away, my friend Kim leaned over and said softly in my ear, "You need to take a break. Take your phone and go to the bathroom and watch the video that Jensen just posted." That's all she said, but instantly I knew. I knew from the genuine emotion in her voice and the concern for me that I could hear there. I knew because there's a part of me that had been waiting for that news and anticipating it, and knew it was coming sooner rather than later. My stomach instantly fell, and my brain kicked into survival mode, blocking all my emotions and making me feel oddly calm, even though intellectually I knew I wasn't. I can vividly see the table in front of me, the books spread out there, and the woman walking away. She was wearing one of the first Represent Always Keep Fighting t-shirts, and she had bright red hair and a bag with the protection symbol on it. I can see it like it's a photo frozen in time, as bright as if lit by a flashbulb, and I can hear Kim's voice and her words like she just finished talking, even though it's now many months later. I stood in the alcove by the bathroom in the giant convention center and pulled out my phone and found the video. And as soon as I saw their faces, before they even started speaking, there was no doubt in my mind. Jared, Jensen, and Misha are extraordinary in how open they have been with their fans, and I could see all the emotion they were struggling to contain before I ever hit play to listen to the message. I am forever grateful that I got to hear it from them. As Supernatural comes to an end, we are all trying to find a way to cope with its loss. Not everyone will understand how people can grieve for a television show, or for fictional characters who don't exist, or for friends you've never met in person. But the grief is real because the loss is real. There's research about how we get the same emotional satisfaction from spending an evening with our favorite fictional characters as we do from having dinner with family or close friends. Fictional characters play a role in inspiring us, and fictional stories are a way of making sense of and even rewriting our own life stories. Sam and Dean and Castiel and the other characters we love have been, and always will be, an important part of our real lives. Friendship can transcend the physical realm, and online communities can be amazing sources of support. All of that is real, and all of that is healthy. There will be many things I'll miss going forward. I'll miss the anticipation that we all shared as we awaited a brand new episode after days of devouring tidbits of information and video previews and tantalizing speculation about what might happen and how our heroes would deal with it. I'll miss a fandom community so active and vibrant that I could check Twitter at any time of the day or night and find new posts from fandom friends, or check Instagram or Tumblr and find new photos and art and videos about my favorite show. I'll miss the sheer immediacy of this SPN family and the all-encompassing nature of fandom that has new content to pour over every single day. I am so very grateful for so many years of that. This book is a celebration of the show and not a goodbye. What Supernatural and the SPN family have given us cannot be erased or taken away, even though the show itself is no longer in production. Sam and Dean and Cass and Jody and Donna and Charlie and Bobby and all the other characters we fell in love with will live on, not only in reruns on TNT, but also in the countless ways they've inspired us in our real lives. That decision you made to always keep fighting, because that's what Supernatural taught you, sent your life in a different direction, and you're still here now because of that. Nobody can take that away from you. We are all different people than we were on that day we first saw the Impala roar across our screen. That change is permanent. This show did that. Some things will change going forward, but not everything. I have no doubt that the SPN family will live on. We may not gather together to dissect the latest episode or argue amongst ourselves about which way canon should go, but we will have 15 seasons of rich and nuanced and fascinating adventures to keep watching and keep talking about. As with any fandom, a lot of what my SPN family friends and I talk about on a daily basis doesn't even have anything to do with Supernatural. We talk about family stresses, job challenges, kid questions, politics, that awesome thing we found at Target, whatever. They are the people I can reach out to for support, no matter what the problem. Fandom friends become forever friends, and the friendship is all the richer for that amazing show that's brought us together. 10 years from now, a bunch of us will say, hey, let's all watch the pilot, or The French Mistake, or All Hell Breaks Loose, or the finale. And no matter where we are in life and who we've gone on to become, we'll all pause and be reminded of all the ways that Supernatural changed our lives. Maybe we'll get a little teary and reach for the tissues, and maybe we'll share some hugs as we dab at our eyes, either virtual or in person. Because we'll always have this show in common, and we'll always get it. Nobody can ever take that away. Because family really doesn't end with blood. And those of us who have been part of the SPN family, whose lives have been changed for the better by this show, are now a little more able to carry on. The Winchesters and Castiel and all our favorite characters from Supernatural have inspired us with their 15-year journey and have earned the rewards they never sought in the fictional universe. It's what we hope for them every time we sing along to Kansas at the top of our lungs, that there'll be peace when you are done. Hashtag SPN Family Forever.
A Family Affair. Jared Padalecki. When I think about the legacy of Supernatural, I feel like the relationships I've been able to build because of this show are what I'll take with me. I've met a couple of my best friends. I met my wife in Season 4, and now we have 3 kids. There's also the relationship with the SPN family. The show and the SPN family have grown organically, and it's made this into something that's way beyond what any other television show has done. It's always been a family affair, with us as actors a cog in the wheel, too. We wouldn't exist without the fandom, and they wouldn't exist without the show. So it has felt like a communal thing, almost like how Sam and Dean say to each other, hey, good job back at you. Okay, let's get to work. It's made our work more important. It's given our work more value. One of the reasons why Supernatural has lasted so long is that the fans forgive us, accept us, and love us. They keep watching even when we falter, and they bolster us back up to where we were. We fight for them, they fight for us. It has always felt like a reciprocal situation. I don't think any of us who make the show care about awards. This is the accolade, having people who actually care about the story and about each other, and who have literally raised millions of dollars for charities over the past 15 years. There was a point a few years ago when the Powerball got to a couple $1 billion, and Jensen and I both bought lottery tickets. We had a funny conversation in one of our trailers the night of the lottery draw. We were like, hey, if you win tonight, are you coming to work tomorrow? We both looked at each other and said, absolutely. It wasn't for the money. It wasn't for the prestige, the fame, or the awards. It was for our family of fans. I was committed to seeing Sam Winchester's story play out, and doing whatever I could to make that happen. I'm very proud of what we've done, and of the story that we got to tell. Sam Winchester has inspired me, just like he's inspired many fans. Sam is a character who thinks about things differently. From the start, Dean was written as the let's go in guns blazing one, and Sam was the let's think about this character, carrying a lot of the weight of the moral and ethical burden of decision-making. Do you drink demon blood and Hulk out so you can save people? Is it worth letting one person die if it's going to save 20 people? Sam is thoughtful, whereas I tend to be more impulsive like Dean in some ways. But Sam has changed me and helped me be more thoughtful about those things. I think most of us, like Sam, probably do struggle to forgive ourselves sometimes. But I feel like Sam's actions have been kind and sacrificial and loyal, and I have always wanted him to keep fighting. For his brother, for his family, to save people. I value that about him. The way the Winchesters have faced insurmountable odds inspires me, and hopefully others, to keep on working as hard as we can. I feel sad about the show ending, but I want to feel sad about it ending. I don't want to feel relieved. I don't want to feel like it's time and I'm relieved to be done with it. I want it to be how I felt about Harry Potter. You're still alive, J.K., write some more. Even though it's hard, I want the show to end with me wanting more. So, what is the legacy of this show? It's the relationships. The relationships that fans have made, the relationships the cast and crew have made, and the relationships that we have with the fandom. I'm so grateful for the family that's been built because of the show. There are other shows that are bigger and more famous, but they don't have something like the SPN family. They didn't create something extraordinary like that over the last 15 years. Someone asked me recently what it's going to be like saying goodbye to Sam Winchester. And my honest answer was that I can't say goodbye to him. Sam Winchester will forever be a part of my life. I'll always love Sam, and he'll be a part of me forever. And I hope for the fandom that has spent 327 hours watching our 327 episodes, that he will always be a part of them too. That the part of them that felt this way because of Supernatural will be a part of them forever.
Dream a Little Dream of Me. Amy Hutton. Fade in. Sydney, Australia, January 2006. Interior lounge room. A young woman sits on her sofa alone watching television. On screen, a scene plays out of a mother and father saying goodnight to a baby called Sam. In the father's arms is a young boy. His name is Dean. Flash forward 14 years. Sydney, Australia, January 2020. The same woman sits on her sofa watching television. She's a little older now, and her hair is a whole lot redder. She leans forward, captivated. The children she met in 2006 are now men. The baby called Sam stands over 6 feet 4 inches tall. The young boy called Dean is not far behind him. The woman sighs wistfully, every word they speak nestling in a new place in her heart. They have become her constant, her touchstone, her home. From an outsider's view, it appears not much has changed in those 14 years. The woman still sits alone, still watching the same TV show. But what is not seen is the throng of people right there beside her. Thousands of voices speaking in a language she understands completely. Across Australia, across the globe, sharing in her experience. People who have become friends, people with whom she's traveled the world, people who have given her strength, who have helped her grow, who have helped forge in her a love and acceptance of herself, who have lifted her up and encouraged her to chase her dreams, to be brave, to trust in being the truest version of herself. As she sits all these years later, unconditionally in love, the light bounces off her face, making her tear-filled eyes glisten. She feels connected in a way she never dreamed existed. Emotional tendrils reach out across the planet, in touch with 1,000 other beating hearts. Okay, it's a bit dramatic, but it's nonetheless true. Who would have guessed back on that night in January 2006 that watching a new TV show would eventually help shape my life? In 2006, I was working in my first big management-style job, a creative manager in charge of a promotions team for television. It was a good job. It was a great job. Cool, and a lot of fun. But along with the fun came a decent amount of responsibility. I was in charge of creative for the first ever pay-per-view movie source in Australia, and there were a lot of eyeballs watching what I was doing. Looking back on those days, I now understand that part of me was acting out a role. That's not to say I wasn't good at the job.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?